Because it's about 3 o'clock in the morning right now. And I woke up from my bed and the energy just came. This creative energy, and it just comes. This realness that I have within. Now I'm coming at you not as a Sifu. I'm just coming at you as a human being. As Freddie Lee. You're going to learn more about me, learn more about my past, and learn about how I deal with racism. As an Asian American, as a Chinese American living in America. I was born here in America, born in Chicago. My parents immigrated from Hong Kong. So I speak fluent English. I don't really speak Cantonese or Chinese that well. I lost it all the way in the past. Pretty much because of racism. I still remember to this day what happened. I think I was maybe 5 years old. I was in school and there's a little Caucasian kid that slanted his eyes and looked at me and just said ching chong, said that. And then right there I was like, you know what? I felt very ashamed to be Chinese. Like I didn't want to be Chinese. You know, I wanted to be something else. I wanted to be not Chinese but something else. Something that was more respected. Some other race that was more respected. So what ended up happening was it kind of damaged my psychology, and then I used to speak Chinese at home, but then when I went to school, it didn't, you know, they didn't make me feel like I was accepted. So then I didn't want to speak Chinese at all. So then I just started to speak English, and I just started to transform myself to be completely Americanized at that age. So immediately racism came at me at a very young age, and I started to, in a way, try to find acceptance. And I tried to find acceptance through the African Americans, through the blacks, because I felt that they had the same struggle that I had. Now, I got family members that all go through this stuff too, because we're all Asian American, we're all pretty much born in America, and we all dealt with it. And everybody deals with it a little differently. Like my sister was kind of heading towards more the Hispanic crowd. And then I got other family members who are pretty much selling out and just, you know what I'm saying, they just kind of give up completely on even trying to defend themselves or whatnot. They just kind of make fun of themselves, make fun of their own race. I call those people sellouts. Okay, some people might call them whitewashed or whatnot. I call them sellouts. They pretty much sell out their own race in order to fit in with the whole. Now, so that's what I dealt with at an early age. It affected me, turned me against my own race, and maybe not be proud of being Chinese, maybe not be proud of speaking Chinese and stuff like that. So going through these years, I pretty much hung out with the black crowd, African Americans, played basketball all the time, listened to hip-hop music, and just kind of grew close to their culture, to the community. And I really had a strong liking to Tupac. I had a lot of African American friends, black friends, whatnot, and we just got along very well. You know, I felt that we're in the same boat. We had the same struggle, so I felt really close to them. You know, when I went off to college, then I started to practice martial arts at the age of 17. So from the age of 9 to 17, I played basketball a lot, hang out a lot around African Americans and blacks. Grew very close to the culture. At the age of 17 was when I was introduced to martial arts. And it was because my mom, she knew a Sifu in Chinatown, and she said, hey, you know, he's willing to even teach you for free. It was a great opportunity, and I'm very thankful for the opportunity. I trained 2 years in the Chinese martial arts, Chole Fut Kung Fu, Wing Chun Kung Fu, and it was a great experience. you know. And basically it brought me closer to my culture. It made me feel proud of being Chinese because the martial arts pretty much started from China. And it made me proud of basically being a part of like something bigger, that where you appreciate the Chinese culture. I started hanging around Chinatown more, hanging around with other Chinese, you know, Americans, other Chinese people, and I just loved it, you know, like it just brought me so much closer to my culture, and I was very thankful for that. But before that time, I was never like happy and proud to be Chinese. Unless you know, obviously you watch like a Bruce Lee movie, and he's like the only one that's like really respected out there that's Chinese or Asian, you know. And that's the only person that people bring up all the time, Bruce Lee. They respect him because he gained that respect through his hard work, and he just made something so different, you know. And people used to, you know, view China, I mean, they view Chinese as weak and, you know, unathletic and all this other stuff. But he like flipped the script and made it like where it's cool, you know, that this culture is cool, we work hard, you know, and all this other stuff. So I practiced martial arts. It brought me closer to my culture and started to be proud of it. So then when I went off to college, I went to Purdue University, I joined a fraternity, and the fraternity that I joined was actually a Hispanic-based fraternity. You know, Tau Phi Sigma, more Hispanics in there. They call themselves multicultural, but it's more Hispanics. So I grew up with African Americans, being close to them. Then I started to appreciate my own culture, Chinese culture, grew close to the culture of the Chinese. And then when I went to college, I grew close to the Hispanics. You know, there's a lot of Hispanics in that fraternity. And I created my own martial arts club called Fighters United that pretty much was designed for all martial artists that had experience and that weren't bullies. Because I was trying to get people together that would want to learn from each other, grow with each other, be friends with one another, and basically progress together. And it was pretty successful in the sense it brought in a bunch of different races and a bunch of different experiences from different styles and everything, and we just learned a lot together. But the only problem was there wasn't too much authority and structure. I just kind of let everybody it was just more of a club. It wasn't like an actual business or like an actual martial arts school where there's like a master overlooking the whole thing. I was like the president that was organizing it all. And, you know, it was a great experience, but I knew that it was going to end in college, so I didn't really want to put everything into it because I knew it was going to end. So I knew that after college I had to figure out something that I was going to have to do. So I did that for about 2000 to 2004, got out of college, and then basically went into the workforce. I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do, and I got some odd jobs here and there, tried management jobs, you know, that didn't work too well. I went into the security, and that went pretty well. I liked the security job, but the only thing is, it wasn't paying that much money. You know, I was only getting paid like maybe $10 an hour or whatnot. And basically from there, I was recommended by my sister to go into law enforcement. So I went into law enforcement, applied for a job with Northwestern University Police. So Northwestern University Police, I ended up getting hired, which was great. And they paid me a decent amount of money, good money. I think it started off like maybe $48,000. And then through a 5-year period, you're supposed to end up like around $70,000 a year, which was a lot of money for me. And I thought, hey, you know, this is great, you know. So I got into the job, went to the police academy and everything. And so this is where it all starts, about my experiences with racism and dealing with it in the outside world, away from school. You know, now not as a student, but as an adult in the working world, dealing with racism. And I'm going to recall all the instances that I've dealt with it, in the job and out of the job as an adult, and how to deal with it. Because this is basically the foundation of right now of what I'm trying to help people do is how to deal with racism. And I'm going to go over some of my own experiences and be real and honest about, stating how I would deal with it. It's just a very difficult thing, and I understand this. I mean, I'm 30 years old now, and through all these years of experience living with a racist world, in a racist world, this is what I come up with, and how to deal with it. It's a difficult thing, difficult. And if you live in America, racism is going to be if you're not white. If you're Asian, Chinese, Korean, Japanese, black, Hispanic, Mexican, Puerto Rican, no matter what race other than white, you're going to pretty much go through racism. But if you're white, hey, you won't go through racism, but you might go through other stuff. People might make fun of you being fat, you being a nerd, you being unathletic, you being whatever they want to make you, funny looking hair, whatever, right? But racism is very deep because it's just something that you can't change, and it's just it just hits home deep. It goes deep into very difficult struggle. So I'm going to speak about racism mainly and how to deal with it. Alright, so I went into police academy. Police academy went great, Chicago Police Academy, and immediately, I didn't really think of it as racism because the guy was being respectful in a way. So there's this guy, this teacher in there, in the police academy, the PE teacher, a white guy, not the PE, but just the defensive tactics teacher. And he would look at me and he'd be like, hey, man, you're cool, man, man, he just really liked me, and then he would be like, hey, he started calling me Jet Li because, he respected me and he knew I practiced martial arts, and he just started calling me Jet Li. He knew my name was Freddie Lee, but just kept calling me Jet, so he just started to call me Jet. But I didn't take it personally. I didn't take it in a negative way because I practice martial arts. Sometimes people compare me to Bruce Lee and all that stuff in a respectful way. I don't mind that. So I didn't take offense. He kept calling me Jet. Hey, what up, Jet? And it turns out that he was married to an Asian woman. And he had respect for the races and the Chinese race and whatnot, and he just called me Jet. I didn't take anything serious about it. I didn't take offense. So, but that's where it ended up starting. And then I go into the force in Northwestern University, and then more and more stuff about my race starts occurring. So I go in there, I graduate from the police academy, and then right when I start working, right after graduation, I worked there for 4 years. So I went right after the graduation from police academy, I start work, and then immediately one of the officers that's been there for like 2 years, he just walked into the locker room while I was in there, and then as he was walking up, he was like, man, those fucking chicks, those goddamn chinks, I hate those fucking chinks. And then I'm like in the locker room, like, damn, like what the hell is up with this? And I just didn't say nothing because I'm a new officer. I'm not gonna say nothing. But I was like, man, that's crazy. But he was like trying to say it in a joking way, So he did it one day, and then the next day he did it again. He walked up there, oh, those fucking chicks, those goddamn chicks, I can't stand those chicks. And I was like, whoa. And then there's another officer in there with me that was Korean, and they had like a working relationship. So the Korean officer's like, hey, yeah, trying to joke back, saying, yeah, you fucking honky, fuck you and all this other stuff. And then for me, I'm just staying quiet, and I'm just like not saying nothing, and I'm just like hearing all this stuff. I'm like, man. But the dude was saying it in like a joking way, but still, this was in the workforce, and I was like, whoa, what's up with this? But I didn't say nothing. And normally the way I deal with conflict, a lot of times, my personality, is I don't say nothing. I just stay quiet. That's how I normally deal with stuff like that. So I stayed quiet, didn't say nothing. Okay, and then months go by, and then another time, I'm working with this female police officer, and then I'm reading the Tao Te Ching, which is everything that I'm like promoting. Tao Te Ching. So I'm reading that, and I'm like showing it to another officer, a Hispanic officer, about the Tao Te Ching. This Caucasian officer, female, starts saying, well, what are you guys reading? Oh, this Tao Te Ching, Chinese philosophy. And she starts squinting her eyes and starts saying, ching chong, ching chong, ching chong. I was like, what the heck is this? I didn't say nothing. I didn't tell her to stop, but I was like, man, what the hell is up with this? And then she did that, and then a week later, she did it again. It was the same, pretty much the same thing. I was talking about the Tao Te Ching again. What are you guys reading? And she's like, oh, Chinese philosophy. And then she starts squinting her eyes saying, ching chong, ching chong, ching chong. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? But I didn't tell her anything. I just kept it in. I didn't say nothing. So that happened at least 2 times. It might have happened 3 times. But then the Caucasian officer fucking chinked 2 times. This female officer at least 2 times, maybe 3 times, ching chong stuff. Alright, and I didn't say nothing in either case. Okay? Alright, and then another officer that comes in after me, a rookie, comes in, and then, you know, I'm talking to him about like, hey, you know, how's your police academy experience? And then he went to the police academy with another Asian officer, Korean officer, not Chinese but Korean. And then this Caucasian officer has the nerve to tell me, oh, you know, it was good, but they kept messing around with your cousin. I'm like, what, my cousin? What are you talking about, my cousin? He's like, yeah, your cousin, officer blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm like, whoa. I was like, man, I didn't say nothing to him, but inside, I'm like, man, what the hell is up with that? You call this dude my cousin just because he's Asian? All of a sudden, he's my cousin? I was like, whoa. But I didn't say nothing. I just kept it all in, right? Okay, so I kept it in. Didn't say nothing to him. Later on, a week later, he says, he's out there taking a smoking break. I walk out of there, you know, in the parking lot with them. And then, I'm like, hey, what's up, man? He's like, yeah. This dude, man, that dude was driving while Asian. He was like everywhere. I'm like, whoa, what's up with that? And then he had the nerve to tell me, hey, you know, if you want, you could go to HR with that. I was like, whoa. And I still didn't say nothing. So first, he comes, you know, talking about this other officer being my cousin. And then he talks about this person driving while Asian and telling me that I could go to HR with it. And then another instance, the same officer arrested a Chinese American. And then he's in the locker room talking to another Caucasian officer about the arrest. He knows that I'm in the locker room. And then he basically tells me, hey, you know, Freddie, close your ears because I don't want to hear this. Because he was going to say something derogatory towards the Chinese or something. And then I'm like, okay, whatever. Wait, hold on, I'm just going to make sure this is recorded. Okay, I'm making sure this is recorded. Because, I mean, I don't want to have to, like, remake this video. So this is going to be a pretty long video. Okay, so that's what happened with that. Alright, so this officer did all that. Okay, so that's 3 officers right there. Alright, and take it. Remember, the guy that called me a fucking chink, or that said the fucking chink thing, he was an officer when I started. But then he ended up getting promoted to sergeant. Okay, so he becomes a sergeant. Alright, so here he's got a sergeant that said that fucking chink thing 2 times in the locker room. Alright, so there's him, the female white officer, and then another Caucasian officer. All 3 of these, and then this was the boiling point. Another officer, another Caucasian officer, hired in after me. Okay, I walk into the police room. Like, it's like, you know, you walk in through the room and then there's people there. It's like the eating area, and there's like maybe like 4 officers there, and another Caucasian officer is looking at me as I walk in, and he starts calling me like, hey, Fudamoki, Fudamoki. I'm like, what the hell is this Fudamoki? What's up with? And then he starts smiling and giggling and laughing. And then there's other officers there witnessing all this. And there's a supervisor there, a Caucasian supervisor, witnessing and laughing along with this guy calling me Fudamoki. What the hell are you talking about, Fudamoki? Like, you don't know who Fudamoki is, man. How can you not know who Fudamoki is, man? And then he's like, yeah, do you know who Bruce Lee is? Do you know who, he started Yao Ming, he starts like naming all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, man, yeah, no. And everybody starts laughing. All the officers in there start laughing, the supervisors start laughing, like, whatever. Okay, that's day one. Day two, I go back in the same room, the same guy looks at me, officers around again, starts calling me Fudamoki, Fudamoki, and starts calling me Fudamoki Lee. Like, man, what's up with this, man? Whatever. Okay. And then I walk in again, this is the third day, looks at me, and then he's standing, he's in front, and then there's the Asian officer that the other guy called as my cousin, standing next to him, the Korean officer, standing next to the guy. He looks at me, and he says, hey, there's another one of them. He looks at me and just says that, there's another one of them. I'm like, whoa. All this time didn't say nothing. I still didn't say nothing. I just looked away. I'm like, man, what is up with this, man? You know, like, then he saw that someone right, and he's like, man, what's up, man? You okay? I'm like, I just nodded my head. So there's all this time I didn't say nothing about any of this stuff. But that day was the boiling point. But you know what? This is a 4-year span that this is going through. All this stuff coming, people saying this stuff to me. Alright? So I'm like, you know what? This is just crazy. And I'm like, he looked at me, he knew that I didn't like, he finally knew that I didn't like that stuff, and then he just started to apologize. I'm sorry, man. I'm like, dude, man, you got something against the Chinese or something, man? Why you saying all this stuff? He's like, no, man, I don't got nothing. And he starts apologizing. All right, cool, whatever. And then, so it got me thinking about the past. It got me thinking about, all the other people that said stuff, and I wanted to be like, you know what? I want to let them know that I didn't appreciate those comments in the past. So what I did was I sent an email to each individual that said something to me. The sergeant that said the fucking chink stuff 2 times, I sent him an email. The female officer that said the ching chong stuff, I sent her email. The other guy, Caucasian dude that was saying that stuff about the guy being my cousin, the driving while Asian, all other stuff, I sent him an email. So, and then I basically let them know what they said, and I didn't like it, and for them to stop. That's all I pretty much said. Please stop, and I don't appreciate it, and whatnot. Okay, so then what happened is that I go back to work, and the guy that was saying that this officer's my cousin and this driving while Asian, that officer, that Caucasian officer, got the email, gave the email to the supervisor, and the supervisor was the supervisor that was laughing at the Fudamoki thing. Fudamoki, I guess they're talking about the Cubs baseball player. So they're talking about the Cubs baseball player, and they're trying to compare me to him because he's Asian and I'm Asian, so all of a sudden he starts making fun of me because of that. So he gives that email to the sergeant that was laughing about the whole incident, and then it just blew up from there. So he gave the email to the supervisor, and then the supervisor approaches me, puts me in a private room, and says, "What do you want to do with this? Like, do you want me to notify the administration? Do you want to go to HR?" And all this other stuff. I'm like, man, I don't know. Because now a supervisor found out, I'm like, man, I felt like I had to protect myself from retaliation. Because now the other officer's going to feel like they're not going to like me because they're going to feel like I'm trying to get them in trouble. And that wasn't the case. I wasn't trying to get anybody in trouble. Like, man, shoot. So then from there, I felt like I had to protect myself, so then I wanted to go to HR. So I'm like, fine, let me go to HR. And then I ended up filing a complaint with the HR to try to protect my future from being retaliated against. And then they asked, like, oh, what do you want us to do and all this other stuff. And I said, hey, you know, why don't you just have some sensitivity training to help these officers understand that you shouldn't be saying those types of things and all this other stuff. So then they end up implementing the training, but at the same time, all the officers just did not like me anymore. Everybody that was involved, they just hated me. I mean, they started to ignore me. They didn't talk to me anymore. It was a very difficult working situation because those officers that I said something about, they were upset at me, you know, and their friends were upset at me too. So here I am going to work every day with a bunch of people that are upset at me, and it was a hard, difficult situation. The only people that were really like cool towards me were the minorities, like the blacks and the Hispanics. But when it came to like a lot of the Caucasians, they just did not like me, you know. And I was just like going to work, barely talking to anybody because it was a very tension. There was a lot of tension, like uncomfortable. But I just went to work, did what I had to do, talked to the people that didn't mind talking to me, and then okay, this is what happened. Okay, so maybe if like months go by, almost a year goes by, while a lot of ignoring going on and just, you know, not talking, but just us working together the best we can. I go into the locker room, and I walk into my locker room, and basically, like, 3 pairs of my shoes, which is 6 pairs of my shoes, are like scattered all over, like, the room. Like, there's a separate locker, like a separate area where my locker was, and the shoes were like scattered everywhere. And basically, I felt that somebody was targeting me. So there was 3 pairs of my shoes that were scattered everywhere. Another officer's shoes, the Asian officer, the Korean one that they were saying that was my cousin, his shoes were scattered everywhere with my shoes. So here you got 8 pairs of shoes scattered all over, thrown all over the room. Okay? So I'm like, man, I felt that was retaliation. Because basically, that night before when I worked, it was the people that were working, the sergeant that said the fucking chink thing, and the officer that said the Funamoki thing, they were working with me that night. And I felt, hey, you know, maybe one of these two did that to my shoes. So immediately, I filed a complaint. I let the administration know about what happened, and then it just went kind of crazy from there. So I let them know what happened. They didn't really do anything. So then I was like, you know what? Let me find out who did it. So then I started to like question the people that I think were involved. And then the female that said the ching chong thing, while I was addressing the issue in front of the people that I thought were involved, she started laughing while I started to address the issue. She started giggling, you know, and I was like, you know what I'm saying? I know that she knows who is responsible. So then it was clear that they knew who was responsible, but they were denying it, all right, that they had any involvement. But it's clear that she knew, okay, because she was laughing. And then they're telling me, you know, I was telling them, hey, I think this is related to retaliation because of my race. And then one of the guys was like, no, it's not about your race. You know, if it was about your race, they would have done something different. They would have thrown your shoes in the garbage can and all this stuff. You know, it's telling me all this mumbo jumbo, like whatever, you know. And then I started to complain again. I went to HR again to complain about it again. Okay? And then they still didn't do nothing. And then I'm like, you know what? I just sent out a mass email to a few officers and told them what happened and told them that I don't appreciate that and to be respectful and let's be professional. You know, we shouldn't be throwing each other's stuff around, stuff like that. Because you know what? I know that they don't like me, but you don't gotta throw my shoes all over the locker room. You know what I'm saying? It's just like ridiculous. So the other video cut off at 30 minutes. I kept talking, and I don't even want to reiterate what I said. You know, so I'm just gonna move on. You know, and speak about racism and my viewpoints on how to deal with it as an adult. You know, because you deal with things differently depending on if you're an adult or if you're a child or if you're still in school. It's a difficult thing. People have the question, how do you deal with bullies? How do you deal with things like this? Alright, so knowing all these experiences that I've been through, being 30 years old, this is my feedback. First, I tried the route constantly for many years of not doing anything, not saying anything, just keeping to myself. And what happens is the people keep coming at you. If you don't stop them, they keep coming at you. You let one comment slip by, more comments keep coming at you. They don't stop. It's like a bully that just won't stop bullying you until you punch him in the nose or something. It's like that's how it is. It's like there comes a point where you may have to fight back. I'm not saying that it has to be violently fighting back, but standing up for yourself is essentially what I'm getting at. And the whole keeping quiet and ignoring the thing, yeah, everybody says that, you know, obviously you know that that's something that you can do. And in some cases that may be the best thing to do. I'll say for instance, this happened to me before, where I'm riding my bike and then some Caucasian guy looks at me, puts his hands up, "Hey, fucking chick," and I'm like, looking at him, whatever, keep riding my bike past him. So that was an instance. That's how I dealt with it. Just ignore it. Putting myself out there on YouTube, I get a lot of positiveness, but also, you know, negative. And there is racist stuff that people say, but I just don't pay attention to the comments. I just don't even look at them. But sometimes other people will look at it and tell me, hey, this person said that, whatever. So Jenny one time saw one of my videos and somebody called me like a Chinese monkey. I'm like, okay, whatever, you know, what could I do? You know, I mean, there's really nothing I can do about it. So why get stressed out over it? So some just ignore it, whatever. But going through this stuff that I went through at work made me see that you can't just let everything go all the time. There's maybe a time where you have to stand up and say something. And at least let the person know that you do not appreciate the comments that he's making. Now, if he still does not listen, you may have to change your tone of voice, be more serious with the person. You may even have to use profanities to get your point across. So meaning, somebody says something really disrespectful to you. Hey, what's up, you chick? Like, hey, you know, what the fuck, you got a problem, man? You look at him, what's up? And you use that profanity to get at him more directly, to get him to take you serious, and then see how he responds. He might start feeling stupid, or he might come back and try to take it to the next level. He might be like, yo, let's fight. And then, hey, you know, you might have to fight. There might be a time when you have to fight. And for me, I promote peace and love and compassion and everything, but for something like this, I feel it's worth fighting for. I feel it is. Because I'm at the point in my life where you can't just sit down and do nothing and just be scared all the time. You can't just be like, hey, you know, oh, he might have a gun, or he might have a knife, or what if I get beat up, and oh my God, you know, okay, I'm just gonna bow down to you or surrender, and I'm just gonna let you say whatever you want to say to me. No, there comes a time where you're like, you know what? I'm sick of this stuff, man. I'm gonna stand up for myself. I mean, I'm gonna tell you that I don't like it. You know, I'm gonna tell you directly I don't like it. You say it again, hey, let's do it. Or you could come back with something verbal, something to get them right back. So it's obvious what people, they look at you, they always make fun of your race, so you have a comeback immediately. Like you're prepared. It's almost like being like, just like fighting. Like you're prepared, your fists are trained, everything's all trained, you know how to respond. Somebody throws a punch, slip out of the way, bam! You know, throws another punch, duck underneath, bam! You know, you're responding, you're like ready, you know? And it's not like anything new to you. So comedians, they do this really well. They have responses already. They already know what to say. Like, it just comes so natural. You know, somebody makes fun of their weight, like, oh yo, you know, but your bald spot don't look all that great either, man. And then they just come right back at them with something to hurt their feelings too. And it just goes back and forth. So it's just kind of like a verbal sparring. So you could work on that. You know when you know somebody keeps picking on you for something, say you know the people, the easiest thing they do is fucking chick, and then you just be like, alright, then you say, what's up, man? Hey, you know, then you start making fun of their race too or whatever. You just start attacking them right back. You know, so that's another option. So I tell you, this is something that happens quite often, even right now. So I live in a black community, and a lot of these little kids aren't even educated about this stuff. So you got little African American kids, black kids, saying stupid things about my race directly to me. You might have like an 8-year-old, like I'm walking into the restaurant and Jenny's in the restaurant with me. We're about to order some food. You know, like 2 little 8-year-olds, and then one looks at me like, man, he looks like Jackie Chan. And I just didn't say nothing. I'm like, my God, you got an 8-year-old trying to tell me, making fun of my race. And then Jenny steps in, like, look, it's not nice for you to say that. You shouldn't be saying stuff like that. So Jenny already stepped in immediately and said something. For me, I'm like, man, this is a freaking 8-year-old. What am I supposed to do? You know? Then I go to the park in this community, you know, group of little kids, around the same age, 10 years old. Starts calling me Jackie Chan. And here I am with my little kids. I'm like, you know, whatever, I'm not going to say anything, just walk away. But that happens, right? But it's those instances I walked away. And then there's another instance where I'm running back to my home. You know, and then this is when I actually said something. There's another kid, little kid. Maybe like, I don't know, 8 years old again. You know, and I'm like running. And then the kid starts saying, China. It's a black kid. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? You know, I look back there, then he's like pretending like he didn't hear what I said, or that he's pretending like he didn't say it. Then I keep running. I turn back around and start running. He says, China. I'm like, okay. I go back to the kid. I'm like, dude, look. I'm telling him, like, real to him, like, looking him right in the eye, like, look, you would not like it if somebody made fun of your race. I said, hey, if somebody called you, I said, a nigga, how would you like it? Then he immediately started looking down and just like, he didn't like it at all. And I'm like, look, we're in the same boat here. You know what I'm saying? People will make fun of you too because of your race. Okay, so you should learn not to make fun of other people because of their race. You know, and I said, other people will probably beat your ass. You know, but for me, I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to at least try to educate you. And I was real to him. And it hit him. And then from there, you could tell that he learned something. Okay, so that's how I dealt with it with that kid. You know, And it's just constant dealing with this stuff. But you have to, at a point, you gotta say something. You gotta stand up for yourself. Not just for yourself, but for your entire race in general. And that's what I tried to do with all my experiences at work. You know, and that's all I can do. You know, that's why I'm making these videos. It's because I want to stand up for equality. I don't want to just back down and say nothing and hide. I mean, stuff like this, I believe, is worth fighting over. I dealt with this so many times where you just don't say nothing, and that just doesn't work. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's good, other times, no. You gotta stand up and say something. Okay. So just recently also, a couple weeks ago, Jenny was taking an order. 2 black kids, 1 female teenager, and her little brother, I think he's like 10 years old or something, starts saying some derogatory Chinese and stuff about Chinese. And then the female kid is like to Jenny, "Did you hear what he said?" Jenny's like, "No." He's like, "Yeah, he's making fun of Chinese, he's saying ching chong and all this other stuff." And Jenny's like, "I didn't hear that." And then Jenny told him directly, pretty much the same thing I told that other kid. She said, "Hey, you know, you would not like it if people called you a nigga, would you?" And then he just got really quiet. And then just educated them. So I'm saying these words like chink, nigga, spick, you know, all these derogatory words, it's, you know, it's something that you have to know that you're not supposed to say that to people. You're not, you know, you're supposed to be respectful to people. But in people that cross that line, you have to let them know. And you gotta be ready, prepared to deal with it once you let them know. And yes, in a way, the martial arts training can give you the confidence to stand up to those things. Because if need be, if they want to turn it into a sparring match because of it, then hey, you're ready for it. You're ready to spar. You're ready to go at it. Not a big deal. You've been training all this time. Hey, let's do it. So I'm ready for it. People come at me with stuff like that. There may be a time where, hey, you know what? I'm gonna say something back. And then it escalates from there. And then, hey, you know, let's go. Let's do it. I'm not afraid. So that's pretty much what you gotta do with these bullies. These people that are racist and all this other stuff, you gotta put them in check. You gotta put them in check immediately. Like right there. And, you know, and just be ready for what happens. If they want to take it to the next level, they want to fight, then hey, you know, you may have to fight. You know what I mean? There comes a point where you're just fed up with this stuff. You're not just gonna let people trample all over you and say whatever they want to say. You know, I've tried that, and you know, I'm not down with that. You know, the whole thing at work, I stood up for it. I lost my job and everything, but it led me to this. If I was still working over there, there would not be a Freddie's Modern Kung Fu. It would not even exist. There would not be a YouTube channel. I wouldn't be educating the public that I am, like I am right now. I wouldn't have my own kun, my own martial arts school, teaching people. So I think everything happens for a reason. I don't think I was meant to be a police officer. I think I was meant to become a sifu, to be an entrepreneur, to do my own thing, to express myself honestly, truthfully, and to be real. And this line of work allows me the flexibility and freedom to do that. I can be real. I can teach you directly. You know, I don't gotta, like, you know what I'm saying, worry about getting fired or worried about, you know, losing my job. Or, you know, I don't gotta worry about, you know, hiding my identity because I'm a police officer and I can't say certain things. And, you know, now I got freedom to say what I want to say, teach how I want to teach. And this is my way to reach out, to help people, to deal with stuff like this. It's a difficult thing, you know, and these comments, you know, they damage you psychologically, and you can't just let people keep saying things to you that you don't like. You let them know to stop, you know. And let me check this video. You know, if they don't stop, then you're ready to deal, you know, you're ready to take it to the next level. And that's pretty much what this training can help you with, is to have that confidence that, hey, if it gets to that level, hey, you could take it to that level. I mean, even if, I mean, people are fear death, you know, and people will be like, oh, what if he has a gun? What if he has a knife? Oh my God, I can't stand up for myself. No, because he might shoot me. He might kill me. That's, you're still being a coward. You're still not standing up. You think Martin Luther King is afraid to get shot? No, you know what? He's like, you know what? I'm going to stand up against racism. I know I'm going to get assassinated, but hey, I'm going to do it anyway. Socrates wasn't afraid. He's like, you know what? All y'all people are ignorant as hell. You guys need to be educated. You guys got to become wise. They didn't like what he had to say, so then they poisoned him and made him die. But he's like, hey, you know, he accepted death. He's like, fine, whatever. In order to get to, you know, the highest level, you can't be afraid of death. You know, I worked at Northwestern for 4 years. I was getting paid really good money, but year after year, these things keep coming at you, these comments. I can't take it anymore. You know, 4 years is the limit. You know what? I can't take, I gotta say something. Said something, they fired me. Okay? They terminated me. Woo, big, okay, whatever. Now it led me to this, and this is something where it was meant to happen, man. It was meant to be. And you can't be afraid to be terminated. You can't be afraid that there's gonna be a fight. You can't be afraid that you might die. It's like, you know what? You know, stuff like this is worth fighting for. I will fight for this. I'm not gonna jump in a cage and be stupid and fight over stupid stuff, but I'll fight over this. You know, because this, to me, has significant meaning. Because you're fighting to educate people that racism is not okay and should not be tolerated in any way, shape, or form. So I'll fight for this. You know, and that's why I'm making these videos. I'm telling you, not settling and not selling out and basically not just settling for money allows me more freedom of expression, so I could say exactly what I want to say and tell the truth as it is of what happened. And I could reach out directly. So it's not about money for me. It's about being real. It's about being real, straightforward, with real education on racism. So if somebody is making fun of your race and all this other stuff, I say, hey, you know, not in all instances, but in some instances, you're justified in taking it to the level you need to take it to. You start out with changing your tone of voice, looking at them directly in the eyes, being straight, serious with them. If you need to swear at them, swear at them. If you need to fight, then fight. It's what it is. You know, when Martin Luther King was leading the protesters, They couldn't be afraid of getting hit by the police. They couldn't be afraid of being hosed down with water. They couldn't be afraid of physical pain. Because mental slavery is much worse than physical slavery. And mental slavery is when they keep putting you down because of your race, making you feel that you're not good enough because of your race. And that's what they do when they use those derogatory terms, and they try to enslave you psychologically. You can't be afraid to fight back. So I think movies like Fearless, movies like Yip Man, especially number 2, where they're fighting for a greater cause. You know, fighting, you know, they got these Caucasian people that might have made, you know, say that the Chinese are dirty dogs or whatnot, and they're trying to fight for the country. They know, you know, we're not dirty. You know, we're human beings just like you. You're not better than us just because you're different skin color. So, those movies are representing fighting for a just cause. And that's why we had all those civil wars. The Civil War, fighting to stop slavery. That's why we have the World War with the Nazi Germany and whatnot, to fight against this type of racism. That's why Martin Luther King fight against racism. Malcolm X fight against racism. Bruce Lee fight against racism. For me, fighting against racism, this is my way to do it. To reach out directly to educate people that, hey, you know, this stuff should not be tolerated. We gotta fight against it. And this training right here, this is something where I need to fight. This training is preparing me to fight. Physically, mentally, spiritually. I'm gonna put myself out there, keep fighting against racism and things like that. Okay? So, learn from my experiences. And sitting back and doing nothing is not always the best answer. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's best to ignore certain things. Other times, you gotta say something. You gotta do something. You can't be afraid. And that's it, you know. From here, just gonna move on. Put that whole thing completely behind me. This is gonna be my way of letting go of the past, moving forward, completely forward. But I had to get it out. I had to get it out to at least let people know what happened, and to educate people on working towards ending racism. It's never going to end, but working towards making this world a better place to live, where people are accepted no matter the race. Things like that. Being one as a whole. So think about these things for your own life, and try to educate the people around you to be more aware and to treat people with greater respect. Okay? That's it.